The way that I look at it, Microsoft deserves some good news. I mean, I guess better late than never when it comes to like some of this stuff. I honestly just feel like there's particular times, in my opinion, that Microsoft does get the short end of the stick. Honestly, it's really hard to kind of look at how this is happening and go, oh well, at least it's good that some developers are, actually helping the Xbox along the way. So, again, it wouldn't surprise me because to see developers kind of stiff Xbox in a way, like, hey, we don't really care about Xbox. There's not a lot of meat on the bone there in terms of what you can make or what you cannot make. And so, like I said, it doesn't surprise me one bit that would possibly be something that happens now. When it does come down to, the idea that developers will support Xbox or, whatever the case may be, I hope that they continue to support Xbox and give good versions of games. But, that's something that people kind of look at, and they're gonna, I guess developers are gonna have to decide for themselves. People like Xbox fans are really gonna have to be ones that kind of decide for themselves too when it comes to this. But I want to get into this because it should be a fairly interesting video when it comes down to it. So good stuff. When it comes down to it, the first reviews are in for Final Fantasy VII Remake finally on Xbox. Now, how long is this game? Like, I played this game when it really, when it first came out on the PS4. I think I was playing it on the PS4 Pro, and it's such a great game. And to me, anyway, it was like my first experience with it. I never played the original or anything like that, but they did a good job, kind of, with what they were trying to accomplish, in my opinion. So the long-awaited arrival of Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate hits Xbox Series X and S, and we're starting to see reviews come in. And it looks like the Xbox version might be the definitive de facto version. Now, that might not mean much to you guys, but the fact that developers would even bother, at this particular time to with this. Now, I just hope that the people who swore up and down that they would buy, Xbox, that they would actually buy an Xbox version of this game. I hope they speak with their wallet. I guess we'll have to wait and see a week or so to see where this game lands. But it's crazy. The actual reviews, unsurprising, many outlets are praising the new version of Xbox. Windows Central even calls it officially the best version of the game. So let's take a look. Windows Central says Final Fantasy has had a checkered history with Xbox, but those times are firmly behind it. Is it too little too late? It's possible. I purchased the PS4 Pro just for Final Fantasy VII Remake and played through the game again when it hit PC. I suspect the vast majority who want to play Final Fantasy VII Remake already did so on other platforms. But if, like me, you love the game and enough to run through it a third time, I would argue that Final Fantasy VII Remake is quite easily the best version. Gamered gave it a 93 out of 100. Technically, it implements improvements in texture loading, performance stability, near instantaneous load times, and a more refined lighting system make this adaptation feel fully current. Although, in essence, it's still the same original remake from 2020. Those who could not enjoy the game since 2020 due to the barrier of exclusivity, now is a good time. Eurogamer says the Xbox Series X version is fairly materially indistinguishable from the PS5 version, except for the fact that Xbox lacks the haptic controller feedback features of the PS5 on a platform level, and the load times are slightly longer, something which is quite often the case with PS5 ports to the platform. Xbox has a couple of strings to its bow to offset this. However, you've got Quick Resume, which eliminates the much longer initial load-in, and the fact that this version of the game is Play Anywhere, it means you can cross-platform flick between Xbox, PC, or devices like ROG Ally, which is indeed handy. Again, I never will look at Play Anywhere as a big deal. Why is this getting hyped now when it's been a thing for like a decade? I don't get it, to be honest with you, because I honestly just do not. And I would love to get the numbers on this. Who is do people really think it's a large percentage of people that are doing this? Okay, I'm on my console, now I'm on my PC. It's mostly I've noticed PC dudes stay away from consoles. And if PC dudes were so into handhelds, why didn't the Steam Deck sell well? So, again, it's just, we know that the handheld install base is super low. even lower than Xbox Series install base. So there's not like a bunch of people doing this. Xbox Era gave it a 7.5 out of 10. It says Xbox is the only platform where you can play every single mainline Final Fantasy game, barring, of course, the sequel to this one, Rebirth, but that'll come in time, so the point still stands. What is the point? Pretty simple. Xbox is a premier place to play Final Fantasy on consoles. Checking out, you can see that the remake is getting a lot of positive feedback from, places and things like that. So a lot of people, here's the thing, were promising that they would buy this game. Hey, I can't wait to get this game. I'll support Final Fantasy on Xbox. But then I think, what was it, Final Fantasy 16? The highest it got on the list was something like, I believe it was some crazy low number or whatever. I think it was in the 400s or something. So yeah, I don't think that it was really a game that was well played, especially. Especially considering that, people are kind of looking at things and saying, hey, I'll definitely buy this game. And then when you look at it and it doesn't really look like people are necessarily buying it or whatever the case may be. So a little bit strange to see that kind of happen. And, again, for me, I'm just kind of looking at this and saying, I hope you guys put your money where your mouth is, because y'all were saying you would buy this game, you would support the game, and I just hope that people do. Now, here's the thing: I'm sure there's probably some people saying, "Well, I'll just wait for it to, go to Game Pass, or I'll wait for for the complete series or whatever." And I guess that's a way to go about it. But it is nice to see that at the end of the day, that Microsoft did at least get a pretty good version of the game, and 6 years later you would hope so, right? So that's something that something that I think that nobody should really take for granted at this particular point. So it is nice to see that Microsoft is kind of out here doing these things and making sure that these things are kind of happening for a reason. But again, Microsoft can kind of do what they have a lot of money, which is strange because they don't advertise their own stuff like they have money. And that's that's kind of funny to me. It's like I remember somebody on X the other day, I had mentioned something along the lines of or they had said that, well, being able to sell these games on PlayStation means that they'll be able to reinvest and make better versions of games, and we won't get games like Crackdown 3 and stuff like that. And my response to that was, this has been for the last decade a $2 trillion company. You're telling me they couldn't deliver a quality game for their platform holders while Nintendo and PlayStation could, even though they're worth decidedly less? So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to give Microsoft a free pass on anything. It just really kind of feels crazy to do so. But it is nice to see that they're getting good versions of this game at least, and that Square is kind of keeping their word with, putting their games on Xbox and stuff like that. Because, there was always a chance that maybe they wouldn't do that. And, again, I would state, if you are somebody who really likes Xbox and wants to play, these games on Xbox, I 100% say support it, buy the games and that kind of stuff, instead of just talking loud on social media. Because if people aren't supporting this stuff, why would Microsoft or why would Square continue to port games to Xbox at that point? It's just like it wouldn't really make sense for them to do that, in my opinion. So, buy the game if you're interested in it. Final Fantasy 7 Remake is really, really good. It's a little bit more linear and stuff like that, but it's, in my opinion, a pretty great JRPG, and it's a lot of fun. It's got a really good story, kind of really awesome characters, and it's just one of those games that I think everybody should play. So if you do like RPGs, JRPGs, whatever, give it a try. I think it's well worth your time and money, and hopefully we see more people and more developers come around to putting stuff on Xbox instead of canceling stuff on Xbox, because that's always like the worst sign you can see for a platform is, hey, we're not gonna continue to support our stuff, and it just seems to me like there's a lot of that those little red flags coming up that could really lead to potentially bad things for Xbox. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I will link this article in the description down below. Have a great day. Rack 'em up. Crep Gamer out.